All right, we are live. I suppose we are live. Not 100% sure, but let's see what goes on here.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Ready to have
Yeah, man. We are live, dude. We are live and rocking. Dude, I'm going to introduce you in a second for all the people who are here live watching us on Facebook Live. But before I start, this is, I'm going to be showing this here, and I'm also going to use this for my podcast. So I am the founder of the Science of Flipping podcast, scienceofflipping.com. I'm the executive board member for Real Estate Worldwide's Boardroom Masterminds. And guys, we have a special guest today, my very good friend, my brother, my mentor, someone who I rely on very heavily. I know you've heard from him in the past, and I just want to introduce, I can't say enough about this man, dude. Patrick Precourt, how are you, my brother?
I am awesome, brother, and ready to rock and roll. Did you note that I was your younger brother? Did you throw that out there, or did you skip that part? I just want to know where that fell in, you know?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Dude, what is going on? So sorry for all you people watching right now. Sorry about my lighting. I'm in my new office and my lights are terrible in here. So I got to rearrange my lighting and all that kind of stuff. So sorry if you guys find me to be all dark and gloomy, but hey, it is what it is. Wanted to get this information out to you guys and wasn't willing to wait. So what's up, man?
I'm like, you know what's funny? I just had that conversation with somebody earlier today about standing on the sidelines and waiting to get started, right? And I shared a post on my Facebook feed talking about this, and most people got it, some people got a little offended by it, but basically it said sometimes you got to stop waiting for a plan, and all you need is a set of balls, right? And just get started, get it going on. Sitting around and waiting for things to be perfect, sitting around for everything to be in alignment, to know all the answers, to be big enough, strong enough, to have enough money, to have enough knowledge will stop you from ever going forward. So, dude, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're in a new office. I'm glad the lighting isn't perfect because we're going to do it, and nobody's going to care, brother. Rock it.
I love it. I love it. So listen, if you guys are on here, one thing that really helps Facebook and helps us, let us know where you're from. Say hello, throw some thumbs up, give us some likes, give us some hearts. Facebook really loves this kind of stuff because it shows engagement, right? And so if you're on here, if you're watching, let us know what city you're from. Give us a shout out. Say what's up, right? Just throw something in there. We'd love to shout you back out. I see Cheryl is on, Eddie's on. Nick, what's up, my man? Long time no see, Nick. So again, if you're watching this, let us know where you're from. Give us some thumbs up. Give us some hearts. The whole thing, Facebook really encourages that. So with that said, what up, John Perry? What's going on, buddy? Say what?
I said Mr. John Perry.
Mr. John Perry. We got to love that, man. Carlos says, what does he say? Baltimore, Maryland. Pat P is a beast from Carlos Zamora. So you got a fan out there, man.
What's up, Mr. Josh?
That's right. That's right. So keep mentioning where you're from. Say what's up to us. We have, I specifically wanted Pat to be on this Facebook live feed and this podcast feed because he is a master of a subject that I think is so crucial, right? So Kent Clothier, myself, and Sean Terry and others are putting on a Scale and Escape event, right? This is an event talking to people who are currently actively doing deals. Maybe they're crushing it, right? And they're doing 7 figures, but they work 80 hours a week. Conversely, maybe they're doing a couple deals, but still work a full-time job, and they just need to figure out how to fire their boss and how to hire right and how to get out from the 9-to-5 grind. And there's something so important to be said about motivation versus inspiration. There's something to be said about hiring and hiring correctly and helping those people succeed. And there's a man that you guys are looking at, Patrick Precourt, has such an amazing outlook on this whole thing. And he's built multiple $10+ million businesses. So I wanted to have him on to get his perspective of really what it takes to start a business, scale a business, hire correctly, and really help your guys, help your team, help you build your business so that you don't have to be in your business. I think, I've been talking about a lot. I know Kent has been talking about a lot. I know Sean has been talking about a lot. So I wanted to get your perspective, and I wanted you to share with everybody out there your thoughts about motivation, building a business, how to do this recruiting side of things so that, you're getting the most out of your people, you're getting the most out of yourself, and all that kind of good stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's start out with this, Justin. Let's start out with let's start out with an understanding that for most entrepreneurs, we can put us in 3 buckets, right? First bucket is just can't freaking get started. Stuff just will not ignite. It's kind of like trying to start a damn campfire, right? You got all the wood there, you got a brush kindling, you got all the pieces there, but the freaking thing just will not light up. That's bucket number 1. Bucket number 2, things are rolling, but you feel like you're always catching your tail. And it's a lot of start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. You find yourself above water, below water, below water, below water. It's a constant grind. And the third one is, guess what? You've got it. It's rolling. Money's flowing. Deals are flowing. Everything's like going ahead. But you've masterfully built yourself a job that just owns your freaking life. That it rolls over you. Yeah, from a business perspective, you make a little money. But you've created an environment that is exclusively reliant on you. You haven't built the foundation right. Now you're like, well, guess what? I had a why. My why was, well, like everybody's why, to own their time, right? Because out of owning our time, we can have all the other things that we want and need in this life. And now we're like, well, I got this business I was supposed to give my time, and it did just the freaking opposite. So what I'd like to share today is kind of why that happens and the antidote to it, how to fix it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not that hard. At least it's not hard to discuss. It is hard for some of the shifts that we have to make in here. And of course, the answers are always the same. You want to know where all our answers are housed? In the mirror, brother. Just look right back at yourself. They're always there. That's exactly what I need right now, Mr. John Perry. I get it, brother. I get it. Because you know what? I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk to you about it if I didn't suffer through a ton of times myself. And as an example, I'll refer to this a number of times as we go through, our most recent business that we started from scratch, right, was our gym business, which is a brick and mortar business. And it's grown into a respectable company. It's been around. This is its 5th year. It's been in business, right? It has a lot of moving parts. We're in about a little over 14,000 square feet, have around 650 members or so, 25 to 26 or so people that work at the gym, trainers and office and stuff like that, right? A lot of moving parts. We're a high service gym, 360 classes a month. The only reason I bring that up is when you start using that excuse, well, my business is too complicated to outsource or give stuff to other people. They're going to screw it all up. Listen, 360 classes a month we provide. And in that, say we average 20 people a class. Think about how many one-on-one personal engagements there are. And our job, our single mission in the gym is to provide an outstanding experience for every single client, every single time they're in the gym. How does that happen, Justin? When my monthly involvement operationally is less than 5 hours a month. And that's what I want to show you over the next however long you guys want to sit here and talk about this stuff. Okay? Because and don't even start, guys, with my business is different. No shit. Everybody's business is different. It has nothing to do with that, right? That will accept your business is different and more complex and harder. I'll give you that all up front. It's not true, but I'll just give you that so we can eliminate those kind of excuses before we get going, just so we open up our minds to this, right? Amen. Let me ask you this. If I was to ask you, because you're a business owner, right? What is like one of the top, I don't know, number 1, 2, 3 challenges in growing and expanding a business? Be beyond process and systems and past, say, the financial side, because as we grow, we're always chasing money too, right? Those two go hand in hand. Totally get that, right? All business, as they grow, you'll never have enough. You'll never be like, oh, we got enough money. It doesn't work that way. If you're growing and expanding, you'll always need more money to grow and expand. So accept that as a common denominator too. But what's the number 1 thing, Justin, you would say is a challenge for entrepreneurs in trying to grow a business, genuinely grow a business?
Creating the culture, hiring, being able to remove yourself.
Remove yourself, hiring, the culture. We'll put that in a little side bucket here, right? Because the culture is not something, the culture is, right? The culture can't be manifested out of thin air. The culture can't be artificial, can't be disingenuous, can't be unauthentic. The culture is.
Yep.
So when it comes to creating, I'm just, not that today's going to be about creating culture, but when it comes to creating culture, people, your culture is a reflection of the person on top, right? Are you a genuine person of authenticity? Are you a man or woman of integrity? Do you stand behind your handshake? You genuinely try to treat people the way they should be treated. You say, oh, the golden rule. I say that treat people according to the platinum rule. Trump's the golden rule, right? The platinum rule, golden rule is treat them the way you want to be treated. How about treat them, the platinum rule, the way they want to be treated, which means you've got to be bigger and kind of pay attention to who you're dealing with. Not everybody wants to be treated like you. Let's accept that to be true. That's culture. And that comes from the top down. Culture is not going out writing out a bunch of shit that, hey, this is who we are. That's not how culture works, right? Culture is a reflection of from the top down. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then, so it's top down, but then it's bred and spread here, okay?
Right.
Defined here, bred and spread here. But let's go on to the hard part here. Finding the right people, attracting the right people, and then getting performance out of them. Here's what I've found in my own experience, and likely in many of your own experience, as one of the traps in entrepreneurialism. We get good, think about the path into being an entrepreneur. We get good at something, right? And then we want to take it and do it on our own. That's one path in. What's up, Max? Good to see you, brother.
Let's give a couple shout outs real quick. Max, what's up? Anthony Luciano, thanks for the compliment. Stefan, man, long time no see. I've definitely been thinking about reaching out to you. Patrick, what's going on? Josh Hansen. Anyways, just wanted to give some shout outs as I keep engaging, keep asking questions. Let us know where you're from. This is going to be some good stuff. We're going to go as long as you guys want to continue to listen to us. So keep going, Pat, about.
You come into entrepreneurialism, right? And it's either because you got really good at doing carpentry, and now you want to own a carpentry company, do it on your own, stop making money for the man, right? Or you're in corporate USA somewhere, and you're like, you know what? I've had it here. I'm going to go study this. Once I study and learn it, I'm going to go build a business around it. Fantastic, right? Step one in entrepreneurialism, right, is you cut the umbilical cord to whoever your former boss was, and you start doing it yourself. Totally cool. Nothing wrong with this. Okay. That's not how I did the gym, and I'll show you the difference in a second. Right. But there's nothing wrong with this path of doing it yourself, because it's where you perfect the process. It's where you kind of get in the trenches. It's where you kind of earn your stripes. Right. Kind of hard sometimes to expect something of someone else that you're not willing to do in and of yourself, right? And they can see that kind of stuff. So there's nothing wrong with getting in the trenches and grinding it out. But the trap is this. If we're successful to the point where we need to hire people, which means we're probably successful at getting this far. If we're successful, it means that we've gotten very good at doing it. And then we get this very false, misleading, trapping belief that nobody can do it as good as we can.
No one can, dude.
No one can. And if I hire someone else, they're most likely going to do a shittier job than me, right? I mean, we've been in that bucket, right? I get it. Gets worse. We get over that. We're like, man, we got to hire somebody else, right? So we bring in our first person. And instead of focusing on what is most, so here's the truth of impact and reach and ultimately achieving our why. We can't do it alone. It's not even how this world is designed, right? You want to have a big impact? Build a big freaking team, have a tremendous amount of influence, and let it rock, right? When we get into these entrepreneurial one-man operation, 2, 3-man operation, the challenge is we stick in this role of what I call manager, where every business needs a manager, so make no mistake, but it also needs a leader. And just because you're the boss doesn't make you a leader. And you got to understand the difference. If we're going to take away anything from this conversation, Justin, this is probably it right here. As if you want to write something down super cool, this is it. Managers manage results. Managers grow results. Leaders grow people. Managers grow results. Leaders grow people. Now watch how this plays out. If I play the role of a manager, what do managers want? They want repeatable, duplicable, predictable, known results and outcomes. They want to know that if we do A, B, C, and D, our processes and systems that we've perfected, that we're going to get the result we desire. So as I bring in this new employee, I tell them what to do, how to do, when to do it, where to do it. Just freaking do it exactly like me. Don't ask questions. Don't think too hard. Just get the shit done the way I tell you to get it done. We'll get the result we desire.
Yep.
And voila, if they do, it works out fine. The challenge is they cannot continue in that mode, and I'll explain why. So oftentimes we end up with people that maybe even start out great performers, and then they turn into crappy performers. They're like, wow, this employee sucks. No, you're a crappy leader. You got to own a little responsibility of why you create an environment for their failure. We'll get into that in a second, if I remember, right? So managers grow results. Leaders grow people. If you look at the macro spectrum of leadership, leadership role 101, step one, is a self-lead, to manage this first, right? What does that mean? That means, you know what? We've got to be able to control particularly our emotional states. You know, when you hear Tony Robbins talk about states, what he's talking about is our emotional states. You throw in there our mental states. If we can't control that, we can't possibly lead other people. If we come in and we're unpredictable in say, our anger bouts, in the way we respond to stress, then we cannot manage other people, because we become unpredictable to them, and they will not stay honest and truthful to us. Because this is what happened on a subconscious level. This has been proven time and time again, right? If I can't count on you, Justin, to lead me in times of trouble, then internally I feel you're a threat. And as a result of that, you will get neurotic behavior out of me. This has been proven. Like if it's funny, you take this over to the dog world, the animal world, canine world, horses are no different, right? Oftentimes owners have problems with the dogs. Dogs are neurotic. They won't behave. Then they bring in a trainer that tries to change the behavior of the dog, tries to train the dog. Challenge is the dog isn't the problem, the owner's the problem. The owner is freaking neurotic. The owner's got an emotional instability. They're not predictable. They have anger bouts. They lash out at people in a way that's just not stable. And this is, unfortunately, probably 80% of all adults walking around the earth right now.
I've heard this a lot about horses. You brought up I've heard this a lot about horses.
Horses are exactly the same way. Horses will not conform to a rider that is emotionally unstable. They'll call them out that quickly. But dogs are no different. Right, so you see neurotic behavior in the dog. Guess what? It's a reflection of the fact this is what happens in the dogs, because the dogs don't have this ability to logically think like we do. Right? They have a fight or flight mode. They're very behavioral driven, but they don't think like we do.
Yeah.
They see this behavior in us, and they're like, that I can't. That person, my person, is a threat, and therefore I can't follow them because that's a threat to me. So they go into the fight or flight mode, which means now they attempt to be the alpha, to lead the owner. They are the one, and internally there's a conflict with them, and that's what creates the neurotic behavior, because they know they're not supposed to be superior to humans. They're supposed to be subordinate to humans, but it's created this internal dialogue that's crushing them. No different than with employees. If you're a neurotic freaking company, a business owner that's very unpredictable, have moody days, on days, off days, the way you react to the same situation changes and is not predictable, guess what? You will create a neurotic behavior in the people that you're trying to get to perform. Yeah, so, and I'm going to speed this little part up here, okay? What I'm talking about right now, just from a macro viewpoint, as we migrate from hats of manager over to leader, which is required to get top performance out of people. Whether you're a parent at home or you own a business, makes no difference, okay? 4 different levels that we're talking about. First one is self-management, right? Self-leadership. Welcome back to you, Miss Cheryl, is making sure that you're controlling this right here. Second level is leading others, okay? The way you lead others is to allow them, and I'm going to go into the 3 key pieces that actually drive individuals, which is really what we're here for today. But allow others, right, to make decisions and fail on their own terms so they can grow and expand on their own terms. And it's one thing I see it in parents all the time, man. They don't allow their kids to grow. A child will never outperform the lid that a parent puts on them, and the expectations the parents put on them, and the people that we have that we're influencing, whether they be W-2s or 1099s, makes no difference. They're just an outward team. If they're a realtor we work, it makes no difference. If we need a group of people to work towards a common goal and outcome, we're leaders and influencers, and to the degree that we pull it off will be directly relative to how much wealth and abundance we attract into our bank account. That part is 100% true. Right? Third level is teaching others to be leaders, and the fourth level is teaching others to be teachers. Well, forget about the top two right there. All I want to focus on right now is leading others, because this is the one that's going to break you free and give you your life back, quite honestly, Justin, especially in a business that you've created that owns you. Remember, I have 26 people working at the gym.
Yep.
We do 360 classes a month. Operationally, I spend less than 5 hours a month in that business. And it was built foundationally that way from day one, by finding the right people, creating the outcomes that I needed, and allowing them the autonomy to get the results, and then hold them accountable to the results, but allow them to do it on their own terms. I didn't tell them what to do, how to do, when to do it. I let them to do it. So let's talk about the three things that drive us as human beings. This is all of us. If you have something, man, that you know you got to get done, and you're struggling with, you're procrastinating it off, it's easy to look at these three things and find a way to create an environment that allows you to succeed in doing it, right? Gives you the discipline to execute. And we'll use the simple definition of discipline, man. Doing what you have to do when you have to do it, even though you don't want to, right? And that's the shit we procrastinate off on, right?
Right.
Wow. So it's three things, very simple. Number one, autonomy, okay? The ability to make decisions, do things on our own terms to get the results that we're being held accountable to. See, when a manager and a micromanager gets in your space, tells you what to do, when to do, how to do it, they steal from you the drive that comes out of working autonomously. You say, well, why is that such a drive? Because internally, that allows us to tap into what is actually unique to us, the God-given talents and skills that were given to us as a one-off, unlike anyone else's. That's what we get to tap into. And out of that, we get a certain level of, drive. It inspires us internally, right?
Right.
And when a manager or a micromanager gets in there and tells you exactly what to do, when to do, how to do it, it steals that. And all the drive that would come from that is eliminated. And you'll pull it off a few times, do it okay, and after that, it's going to become such a redundant drag to the point where you'll dread doing it. So if you're a manager or a leader, step number one is focus on the results you need and allow someone to get there on their own terms. If they need help, be there for them. If they need some general direction, be there for them. But get the hell out of the way. Yeah. Allow them to grow, right? Number two is a big one, is we all, you, me, everyone, need to know that we're here for a bigger reason. We're part of something bigger than just ourselves. Because you know what? That's not satisfying to us. And in a working environment, a job environment, or a team environment, right? Knowing that we're contributing to the team, that we matter, that other people need us, right? That's inspiring. Notice I'm using the word inspiring and not motivational. We'll talk about why in a second, right? Inspiration is intrinsic, internal, comes from the inside, which means I'm not relying on anything out here for it, that I can call on it when I need it. Motivation is external, comes from the outside here. And not only is it not available to me when I want and need it, it's not in my control, which means when it's outside of me and when I need it, it's not available, it can do more harm than good. You ever go to an event, you ever go to an event, come out of the event, amped up, jacked up Monday morning, and by Wednesday, you're like, well, that went away pretty damn quick.
Every time I do that.
That's because that person motivated you, but they didn't give you any seeds of inspiration. Totally different. A great leader will inspire you. A manager will create a codependency because they want to be the big person all the time. They want to be like the number one, right? And that's not the role of a leader. So a manager will create a codependency. They'll inspire, they'll motivate you, but all that's doing, man, is pumping more caffeine into your veins. When that shit runs out, you are required to come back to them for more. Yeah. Right? You see this in corporate USA leadership. We have the smallest, most insecure, whiniest little bitches as leaders, right? I mean that guys, not using the word. Okay,
you're trying to be PC here. I got you.
What I'm saying, right? the most insecure people. So yeah, they got to create a codependency. So they know if they don't, these people ain't going to follow them because they got nothing else on there, right? So it's kind of an interesting thing. But us as business owners that need top performance out of our entire team, and anyone who we influence, right? It doesn't matter if we're on top. We want results. You get results by growing people. So number one, give them autonomy, space to grow. Number two, allow them to be part of something big, bigger than themselves. Allow their voice to matter. Let them be significant in whatever it is you're attaching them to. And then finally, and this is kind of like this is another big piece of this whole thing, right? As we go from autonomy into being part of something bigger than ourselves. Third one is self-mastery. What that means is we have to know internally that we're always improving and have the ability to always do better. This happens in a number of different forms. Number one, okay, is whatever job role we have to know there's another tier. It doesn't stop here. Because that's not very inspiring. As a matter of fact, that's a killer right there. Knowing that you've reached your limit here, why would you work harder? Why would you try to do more? Why would you try to be more, right?
Right.
So so you're talking about in self-mastery, knowing that we're always getting better, knowing that there's another level. Number two, and this is on us, this is on our shoulders, feedback. I need feedback from you so I know if I'm doing good or bad, so I can make improvements and adjustments. Otherwise, if you give me no feedback, there's no relevance to what I do. So what's my drive to change? Because if I make a move, you don't give me feedback on it, and I don't know if there's a right move or wrong move, why would I want to continue that process? But when you give me feedback, say, Pat, what you just did right there kind of didn't work out very well. This is why. Good. I can work with that. Anything you measure can be improved. Anything you measure and record can be improved exponentially. But typically, managers, because it's Justin, do it my way, my way, my how. You just follow my orders. We're not even worried about. We're not concerned with feedback because we're just telling you exactly what to do, right? And that if the lack of autonomy didn't crush us, and the lack of being part of something bigger didn't crush us, guess what? The third one, if we have an inability to achieve self-mastery, that will crush our soul. And then us as managers show up one day and say, why aren't you motivated to work? Well, you put out that fire, bastard, you know? Well, if you're starting to get this,
yeah,
you can take somebody that everybody else says is a shitty worker, that is undriven, unmotivated, turn them into a superstar, and you can take a superstar and crush their soul. And that's the kind of level of responsibility we got to start taking for our businesses here. Does that kind of make sense?
Absolutely. I think that was exactly what I wanted to get out of this interview, exactly what I wanted to get out of these videos. You're hitting it right on the head. There is a strong difference between just being a manager and a leader. And to learn the difference, I mean, there's a lot of books out there. You and I read a lot of different books. We could probably recommend a bunch of them. John Maxwell being probably the leader in terms of leadership type book.
One very obscure book. You probably could find it, but it'll be a little more difficult. It's called Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun. Dude, I kid you not. Rock star. So picture Huns back in the Roman days. They didn't have email or telephones or this type of communication. They had nothing, man. They had, I don't know what they had. They had like, I don't know, stars or something to send messages to, and they bounced back. Yet somehow Attila became one of the most successful leaders of thousands of Huns. And of course, Huns are just pillagers, right? They're not exactly like loyal kind of dudes. You know what I'm saying? Somehow he pulled it off. You want to talk about phenomenal leadership capabilities, right? And an interesting book, and it gives you a different insight on how inspirational, almost cult-like tribal leadership happens. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's bring this back around. Let's bring this to application now, right?
Right.
So people on here listening are in one of those three buckets. They're either they got the damn campfire that they can't get started, right? They just can't get out of the starting gate, or they're in motion but chasing their tail, constantly in the same loop, and they can't seem to break this circle, just always running and gunning, right? Or in a third bucket where the business is rolling, but it relies exclusively on them. If they were to leave for 2-3 weeks, would come to stuff would just hit the fan. You know, one of the greatest, this is a bit counterintuitive, one of the greatest measurements of a successful leader is what happens when they leave the office or they leave the camp, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
A great leader, when they leave, performance will go up. An average leader, when they leave, performance will go down. And here's why. If a leader's done their job and has inspired people to perform at the highest level on their own, that would include a high level of internal responsibility. The second they get out of the way, this isn't top-down leadership. This is get the hell out of the way leadership. People will step up out of the personal responsibility, ownership responsibility, and play bigger. You ever see a team like in rugby? We used to see this all the time, man. When if you get a sin bin, soccer does this too. Get a sin bin or hockey, you lose a player off the field. You ever see a team play better when a player leaves the field? They step up into a bigger set of shoes. Or if the leader's done their job, right? Their team will do exactly the same thing. They'll step out of the way, and the team will play bigger without them. A team that's codependent on their leader manager, when the leader leaves, the motivation has left, right? When the proverbial cat's away, blah, 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 right? We'll play. The mice will play. Totally. That's what will happen to see the performance go down. And you'll find in most scenarios, you'll find most people are just glorified managers, man. They don't have the guts to step up and be a leader.
No doubt.
So let's take this over, Justin. Now, let's apply this. So let's talk about people who have the damn campfire. They just can't quite get things going, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree that real estate is not a one-man, one-woman operation?
I agree.
Takes many, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
They don't have to be in your office. You don't even need an office. They don't have to be on your team. You don't have to employ them. But it takes many working together towards a common goal and outcome.
Yep.
Right? Yep. So I'd suggest that if you're just starting out, right, one of the possible causes, Justin, of not being able to get started is you're trying to do this all by yourself, meaning you're not relying on others. You're not leveraging others to help in the game. And if it takes, 5 different people to play 5 different roles and you're, for whatever reason, holding back from leaning on those people, you're going to forever be stuck with the damn campfire.
Yeah.
What's the easiest way out of it? Well, leadership or influence, right, is based on influencing more than one person towards a common goal and outcome. Identify the outcome, get crystal clear on the outcome, then identify what you have in resources, assets, then identify who you need in resources and assets, and make an intentional effort to reach out to them. Everybody's benefited in a real estate transaction, whether it be a title company, whether it be an attorney, whether it be the real estate agent, and they become part of your micro team that you have to influence, coagulate together towards a common goal and outcome. If you're not crystal clear on what that outcome is, how could they possibly work together?
Right.
That would be a great starting point of trying to apply some of what we're talking about here, correct?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Where I want to spin this topic really quickly is put yourself back in the times, and you and I are a little different, right? Like I've never had a job. I think you have, but kind of in a different aspect. And I know you've, built homes and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people out there that are doing a deal, 2 deals, 3 deals, 4 deals a year. They're making some extra money, but they would love to be able to take what we're talking about, fire their boss, jump straight into being an entrepreneur, owning a business, hiring a team, doing what we're talking about, but they can't get out of their own way. If we're talking to that person right now, right, what would we need to be able to help them understand to get to that level? And listen, I've never had a boss. I've always been 1099. I've always had my own business. But what I can tell you is there's a lot of people out there that just want that security, right? And that's a big component. But they also are fighting this other side that's saying, I want to own my time. I want the life Pat and Justin have. I want those moments. I want to be a part of that world. How do we get those people off the bench and into the game?
Well, yeah, I mean, we could take this from a number of different angles, but I'll start with this, okay? And some of this starts, they got to stand up that mirror in front of them and ask themselves some real questions. Because here's the truth of it, Justin. If they do not believe that they can do it, if they do not believe they're worthy of owning a business or making a few $100,000 a year or having the lifestyle that is often talked about, then they're 100% right. And that lack of belief will crush them. No matter how hard they work, right? It'll defy the process from ever happening.
Yeah.
And so I want to
You need to believe it before you see it, right? I talk a lot about that. That's the phrase I use, whether you're faith-based or not. You have to believe it before you see it.
And that brings up the next big question here is, well, how do you believe it if you don't believe it? And I'll share this with you, okay? Because it's a conversation I just had this morning with somebody. Most beliefs that we have come from two spots, right? One is they're adopted from a position of authority, whether it's somebody we like or didn't like is irregardless. It could have been a parent, it could have been a teacher, could have been a priest. They're beliefs that we grew up with, we established. That's category number one. Category number two are beliefs that we've created, established out of our own experiences in life, right? An example would be, hey, Justin, I have this diet for you, and then if you go on this diet and are very strict to it, in 4 weeks, you'll lose 5 pounds of body fat. You go on the diet, you lose 5 pounds. You now believe that diet will work.
Yeah.
Right? But something had to happen before that. Otherwise, you probably would have condemned it from happening if you didn't believe it. So beforehand, you had to adopt a belief. And that came from an authority person, an expert in, I'm not an expert in this, but an expert in fat loss and nutrition. You looked at my credentials, right? There's enough credibility here to give you an adopted belief.
Right.
Now you could stand behind the belief and test it. But you not believe against it, if that makes sense.
It does.
Right. So my point here is, and it starts with an honest discussion with ourselves. Yeah, we all have that kind of dual personality, so it's cool and okay to talk to yourself. If you don't believe, you've got to seek out someone that you trust, that you respect, that you honor, where you can adopt a belief from them. Okay, that's done it, that can show you the process, that has tangible, provable results and outcomes that you can anchor onto, and use the adopted belief to undo the negative disbelief. That's all we're trying to do right now.
Right.
Then at least gives you a clean slate. Now you can let your own results create your new beliefs. Look at beliefs, Justin, as nothing more than little software processes parked in our brain. That's all they are. And they are flawed, ruthlessly flawed.
Yep.
Our beliefs are a function of our experiences in our life, and our experiences are constantly changing. Therefore, our software is constantly getting rewritten.
Right.
We've been lied to by authority figures in the past. All of us have. We adopted a belief based on a lie that we haven't gone back and overwritten. And there's a couple ways you can deal with shitty beliefs, right? You can go back and go through all the mental trauma of like, oh, poor woe is me, and my parents did this, and my priest did this, and all these other things did this. Or you can just rewrite the freaking beliefs, right? Insert new software that serves you, which is my way of doing things. I don't need to go back and undo a whole bunch of shit. I just write over it. And that software becomes obsolete. I now got Windows 12 or,
right,
10 or whatever we're on.
That's gold right there, Pat. And you know, just for the sake of time I mean, Pat brings that to a point that I'm trying to make here is, if you don't have it inside yet, you need to look externally, right? Whether it's Pat or myself or Sean or Kent or anyone that you need to look up to get into this industry, to get outside of your own belief patterns, to understand this is doable for you. You may have a 9-to-5 job. You may not be able to quit today, but you can. You have to externally look out for that belief system, because you can do this. And And that's what we want to impress upon you. If you're listening and watching these and not going to the Scale and Escape Summit, you need to be. If you're actively doing deals, whether it's a hobby for you right now and you're doing 3 deals a year, or if you're doing 3 deals a month and you need to figure out how to scale it and build that into a larger business, you have to be there. This is the type of stuff we're going to be talking about. This is the type of stuff that will help you get to that next level and continue to build that belief and confidence in yourself. So, I think that was gold right there. And Justin Tarr, I see you, buddy. You need to be at this event, period. You need to get in here May 19th and 20th. It will be here in Phoenix. My man, Justin Tarr, get your butt there. I know you need to be there.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Justin. Shy of the person who's got their business on autopilot where they can literally go away. And I usually use the benchmark of 6 weeks at a clip without a problem. So you can walk away from your business for 6 weeks at a clip. You've got a good system going on.
Yep.
Shy of being there right now in that spot and it producing all that you need and want in life, you'd be insane to pass on this opportunity. The amount of talent, the amount of knowledge that's about to be shared and dropped there is ruthlessly amazing. The speakers that are going to be there are amazing in the experience that they bring to the table. Crazy not to participate in this because it's all right there in a nutshell,
Right. I mean, we'll have, like you said, I mean, Jesse Isler is just a name I'm bringing up because he's a billionaire, right? We're going to have a billionaire speaking at this event. Talk about learning how to build a business, scaling a business, knowing how to create a culture, knowing how to hire, knowing how to let people live up to their expectations. I mean, this guy started Zyko coconut water. He's a part owner of the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, just on #1 bestseller. Kent Clothier speaking, Sean Terry speaking. I'm going to be speaking. So many great others. There's a link here, thescienceofflipping.com/SAE. If you believe you need to get to the next level, get there. This is one step to getting there, right? So, Pat, as always, I mean, I could have you on these, episodes over and over again. I could do this with you every day, man. You dropped 2 things I want people to remember, right? Managers manage results. Leaders grow people. Grow results. Leaders grow people. That is gold.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can get to that level. I don't know if I could be Justin Colby or Pat Precourt. You need to find the person to create that belief in yourself. You need to look externally to know that it can happen, and you need to follow that to create your belief, right? Those 2 things were worth watching these videos, being on this episode. You need to write those down. You need to truly believe them.
Yeah, I got to share one more thing too.
Yeah.
For those of us, because this is the life of an entrepreneur. The life of an entrepreneur is chaotic, right? It's stressful.
Say the least. Say the least.
And there's this constant drive. I hear it all the time. I wish things could just get a little simpler, simplified, less chaotic. But here's the truth, ladies and gentlemen, right? Nature's not set up that way. Things never go from complicated to simple. They always go from simple to complicated, never in reverse. So the request for things to simplify and become less chaotic will leave you in a state of stress because it'll never be achieved. The goal is to understand, to learn how to thrive in chaos. Not for chaos to go away, but how to thrive in chaos. And you'll see the greatest leaders come alive in the times of challenge. When there's nothing going on, there's nothing to be solved, no big problems, right? They disappear. You don't even hear from them. You don't see their awesomeness. But when stuff hits the fan and big people got to get bigger, that's where great leaders thrive. So your goal is to accept change as always changing, find peace in it, and learn how to thrive in a state of chaos. That's the magical place to be at.
Love it, man. Love it. Hey, thank you for spending the time, dude. As always, I greatly appreciate you, dude. As always, I got to get my butt out to Connecticut. Tracy was bugging me yesterday. When are you coming out and seeing us? I'm like, I'll get there. I promise.
Boating weather's right around the corner.
That's it, baby. That's it. I appreciate it as always, dude. Thank you so much. Guys, I think you heard it here, man. Pat just dropped a bunch of knowledge on you. Peace out. That's all we got.
Peace.